Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe right now, because today we're going deep into a question that thousands of people over 50 ask every day. Why do I keep waking up at 3 a.m.? Is it just aging? Is it medical? Or should you actually panic? Stay with me until the end. I'll give you science-backed reasons, some fascinating historical context, and most importantly, practical tips you can use tonight. And at the end, I'll show you exactly when it's time to relax and when it's time to call your doctor. So, hit subscribe, stay with me, and let's unravel the 3 a.m. mystery together. First, the natural aging process. Our sleep changes over time, and not always in ways we like. The role of hormones in sleep hormones aren't just about reproduction. They also control sleep. Estrogen helps regulate body temperature and serotonin, which affects sleep cycles. Progesterone has a calming, sedative effect, almost like nature's sleep aid. Testosterone in men supports deep sleep and overall sleep quality. And let's not forget melatonin and cortisol, the timekeepers of your circadian rhythm. Here's what happens. As estrogen drops, your body struggles with temperature regulation. That means night sweats and hot flashes, often waking you right around 2 to 4 a.m. Lower progesterone removes that natural calming effect, making it harder to fall back asleep. Hormonal changes also increase risk of anxiety and depression, both of which fuel middle-of-the-night awakenings. It's like the perfect storm. You wake up drenched, your heart's racing, and your mind decides to replay your entire to-do list for tomorrow. Here's the science. Melatonin drops. Studies show melatonin production decreases about 10 to 15% per decade after young adulthood. By your 60s or 70s, your nighttime melatonin peak can be much lower than it was in your 30s. Lower melatonin equals lighter, more fragile sleep. Sleep architecture shifts. Less deep, slow-wave sleep, more light stages. And light sleep is when it's easiest to wake up. Guess when these lighter cycles often occur? Around 3 a.m. Circadian rhythm changes. As we age, our internal clock tends to shift earlier. Many older adults feel sleepy earlier in the evening, and they naturally wake earlier in the morning. So if you're waking up at 3 a.m., it doesn't always mean something's wrong. It may just be your body running on a slightly different schedule than before. But sometimes, 3 a.m. wake-ups are more than just aging. Let's look at the medical reasons. Point 1. Obstructive sleep apnea, OSA. Obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, happens when your airway collapses or gets blocked while you sleep. Your tongue and throat muscles relax too much. Airflow stops, sometimes for 10, 20, even 30 seconds. Your brain panics, jolts you awake just enough to breathe again. And this cycle can repeat dozens or even hundreds of times per night. No wonder so many people wake up at 3 a.m. gasping, choking, or just suddenly wide awake without knowing why. OSA is surprisingly common in older adults. A meta-analysis of over 30,000 people found prevalence rates around 36%. In older men, rates can be over 24%. And here's the twist. Older adults with apnea often don't complain of sleepiness. Instead, they show memory problems or mood changes. Waking up gasping, choking, or just suddenly at night could be apnea. Point 2. Pain and chronic illness. Here's the science. When you lie down, pressure shifts in your body. Swelling in joints or spine can increase discomfort. Your brain has fewer distractions at night, so pain signals feel louder. During the day, you're busy. At night, your nervous system is tuned into every ache. Inflammatory chemicals, like cytokines, often follow a circadian rhythm. Research shows that inflammation peaks during the night and early morning hours, exactly when you're trying to rest. Arthritis, neuropathy, or even acid reflux can all wake you. Night pain doesn't check the clock. It often peaks around those early hours. 3. Depression and anxiety. Here's the big picture. Sleep and mental health are deeply connected. Around 75% of people with depression report sleep problems. Anxiety disorders? The number is even higher. Over 90% experience insomnia or fragmented sleep. And the pattern is classic. Falling asleep might be easy, but then you wake up in the middle of the night, usually around 3 or 4 a.m. 1. Cortisol spikes. Cortisol is your stress hormone. Normally, it's lowest at midnight and rises gently before morning to wake you up. But in depression and anxiety, cortisol rhythm is dysregulated. Instead of a smooth rise, it spikes too early. Boom, you're wide awake at 3 a.m. with racing thoughts. 2. Serotonin and melatonin imbalance. Depression is linked to lower serotonin, the feel-good chemical. Since serotonin is also a building block for melatonin, the sleep hormone, your sleep-wake cycle gets thrown off. Result? Trouble staying asleep. Point 3. Hyperarousal in anxiety. Anxiety keeps your nervous system in fight-or-flight mode, even at night. Your heart rate stays higher. Your brain keeps scanning for danger. And instead of resting, it's replaying conversations from 2007. Early morning awakening is a classic sign of depression. Doctors even call it terminal insomnia. Anxiety can do the same, keeping your brain in alert mode even when your body wants rest. 4. Nocturia, bathroom trips. Studies show more than half of awakenings in older adults with insomnia are linked to nocturia. For men, an enlarged prostate is often the reason. For women, bladder changes after menopause. Add evening fluids or diuretics, and suddenly, your bladder is your new alarm clock. 5. Medications. Diuretics, steroids, certain antidepressants, and blood pressure drugs can all interfere with sleep. Some keep your brain alert, others make you urinate more often. So no, it's not always the universe whispering secrets to you at 3 a.m. Sometimes it's just your bladder, your joints, or your medication schedule. All right, let's talk about the part that's under your control, your habits. Caffeine. Half-life is 6 to 8 hours, and older adults metabolize it slower. That afternoon coffee, still in your bloodstream at midnight. Alcohol. REM sleep suppression. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep, especially in the first half of the night. Later, as your body metabolizes the alcohol, REM comes rushing back. This rebound causes lighter, fragmented sleep and often wake-ups. 2. Blood sugar drop. Alcohol messes with your blood sugar. After an initial spike, levels can crash a few hours later, which signals your brain to wake you. Stress hormones rise. As your body processes alcohol, it triggers a mini stress response, raising adrenaline and cortisol in the early hours. Cue the 3 a.m., why am I awake and anxious moment. Bathroom breaks. Alcohol is a diuretic. Translation: it makes you pee more. That 3 a.m. bathroom trip? Blame the drinks. Knocks you out quickly, but wrecks deep sleep. Result: 3 a.m. wide awake. Screens. Blue light suppresses melatonin. Your phone tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime. Late meals. Spicy or heavy foods trigger reflux and discomfort. Stress. Cortisol, your stress hormone, can spike early in the morning. Combine that with anxiety, and your brain starts replaying your entire life's bloopers reel at 3 a.m. If your bedtime routine looks like wine, Netflix, doom scrolling with leftover pizza, don't be shocked when your body decides to throw a 3 a.m. after party. Here's something fascinating. Waking up at 3 a.m. might actually be normal. In pre-industrial Europe, people often practice segmented sleep. They'd have a first sleep, wake up around midnight or 2 to 3 a.m., then spend an hour or two reading, praying, or even visiting neighbors. Then they go back for their second sleep. So maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're just living like it's the 1600s. The difference? Back then, people wrote poetry. Today, we scroll Instagram. Less poetic, more stressful. So, should you panic if you're waking at 3 a.m.? Short answer: usually no. But let's break it down. Normal: waking once or twice, but falling back asleep. Bathroom trips once per night. Earlier wake-ups with age. See a doctor if 1. You wake every single night and can't go back to sleep. This is called middle insomnia, and if it's consistent, it could signal depression, anxiety, or a sleep disorder. Point 2. You gasp, choke, or snore heavily. Classic signs of obstructive sleep apnea, which raises risks of heart disease and stroke. Point 3. You feel exhausted during the day. If you're irritable, foggy, or falling asleep during activities, your sleep quality is suffering. 4. Pain is waking you up. Arthritis, reflux, back problems. Night pain can mean untreated chronic illness. Point 5. Frequent bathroom trips disrupt sleep. Could be prostate issues in men, bladder changes in women, or even diabetes. Point 6. Mental health changes. Early morning awakenings are a well-known sign of depression. Racing thoughts at 3 a.m. could be anxiety. You wake every night at 3 a.m. and can't go back to sleep. You gasp, choke, or snore heavily. You're exhausted during the day. You have depression, anxiety, or pain linked to your wake-ups. Also, remember, fragmented sleep has long-term consequences. Increased risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, and even cognitive decline. So if your sleep disruption is consistent, it's worth a checkup. So why do older adults wake up at 3 a.m.? Because melatonin declines, sleep cycles get lighter, and circadian rhythms shift. Sometimes it's medical, apnea, pain, mood, nocturia, or medications. And sometimes it's just lifestyle habits, too much coffee, too much screen time, too much stress. Here's what you could do tonight. Stick to a consistent bedtime and wake time. Avoid caffeine after lunch. Cut down alcohol in the evening. Keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Get bright light exposure during the day. And if symptoms persist, talk to your doctor, especially if you suspect apnea, mood changes, or pain. 1. Your brain is running on old software. As we age, melatonin, the sleep hormone, production drops. Translation? Your brain's like an iPhone 6 trying to run iOS 18. It just glitches at 3 a.m. 2. Cortisol, the stress hormone, loves drama. Around 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., cortisol naturally rises to prepare your body for the day. But if you're stressed, it spikes early, like that one friend who shows up to the party 3 hours too soon. Point 3. The bladder conspiracy. Prostate growth in men, overactive bladder in women. Both can mean a 3 a.m. bathroom trip. Basically, your bladder is holding secret midnight meetings without your consent. 4. Sleep architecture remodels itself. Deep sleep, slow-wave sleep, gets shorter with age. That means lighter, more fragile sleep. Picture your sleep as a Jenga tower. At 25, it's sturdy. At 61, wrong move, and crash, you're awake. 5. Blood sugar plot twist. Alcohol, late-night snacks, or diabetes can cause blood sugar to dip in the early hours. Your body freaks out like, emergency, wake up and eat a cookie. 6. Sleep apnea strikes again. Obstructive sleep apnea often wakes people multiple times per night. Imagine someone tapping your shoulder every few minutes to ask, "Hey, still breathing?" Not exactly restful. Point 7. The ghost of segmented sleep. Fun fact, before electricity, humans actually did wake up in the middle of the night. It was called first sleep and second sleep. After about 1 to 2 hours awake, people went back to bed for their second sleep. So what happened? Why don't we all do this anymore? Answer: artificial light. With gas lamps, then electricity, people started staying up later. Instead of going to bed at 9, they pushed it to 11 p.m. or midnight. That cut out the natural break between sleeps. Now we expect, or at least try, to get one long 7 to 8 hour stretch. But our biology still remembers the old rhythm. That's why some of us pop awake at 3 a.m., wide-eyed, like our body's saying, "Okay, prayer time," or maybe just scroll social media. This stretch often lasted until dawn. Historians note that people even plan their days around it. Letters and diaries from the 15th to 18th centuries casually mention "after my first sleep," as if everyone knew what that meant. It wasn't insomnia. It was normal sleep architecture. So maybe your body is just trying to cosplay as a 17th century farmer. 8. Anxiety's favorite time slot. The brain loves to schedule intrusive thoughts right at 3 a.m. because apparently worrying about your 7th grade haircut choices is best done in the dead of night. And if you do wake up at 3 a.m., try not to panic. Try not to doom scroll. And if all else fails, hey, you could rewatch this video. At least you'll learn something while you're awake. If this helped you, subscribe, like, and drop a comment. Do you wake up at 3 a.m.? And what's the first thing you do? Thanks for watching. Sleep well, stay healthy, and remember, Don't panic at 3 a.m. unless your cat knocks something over.